what did I learn? And what do I hope for the boy to learn? And how did that thing affect me? So you can leave out a lot of stories, but it wasn't, my daddy was mean. It's like, no, you did the thing, and here's how that day on that choice affected me. You didn't pay the bill, you didn't pay the power bill, so I chose to work 30 hours a week in high school so that there would always be money in our back pocket, because I'm never going to be cold again, ever. I don't give a fuck what I have to do. I'll never be as cold as I was that night. And that's part of why I hate winter. It's from that. Like, it's the idea of, I remember I was on my way to a gig, and the gig canceled on the way, and I didn't have gas money to get back, because the gig was the gas money to get back to Birmingham, and I had a quarter tank of gas, and I go, I'm gonna let the engine run and keep the car warm, on and off every hour, get it down to an eighth, and on that eighth of a tank, drive into town, drive to the next nearest city, get a day job, work that day, get the check, and then make that money to drive back home.
Damn.
But I gotta survive the night, and it's 2 degrees. And so you just gotta sleep in a cold car. But there's a weird, I've been here before. That kind of kicks in. You don't like it, but you know what you've been through, so you know what you can push through. And there's not a lot of people that know that story. I would even tell that story too. So how will my son even know what he's capable of? He needs to know what's in him. I think all our kids do. I think we owe it to our kids to share with them our pains, our struggles, our fears, our failures, but we present as perfect, and then a lot of us haven't even reconciled with any of that stuff. So your kid come to you dealing with something similar, you don't even know how to help them unpack it. Because you ain't looked at it yet. You haven't looked at that idea of how to move when you aren't confident, or what to do. Hey, I had to quit working with them. I had to fire an employee, bro, and it hurt my heart, but I had to do it, and I'm here to tell you about it so you can understand the fragility of friendship. That's what you hope the long run is from a conversation like that. So you don't know how it's going to all connect in the long run, but I just share everything. I just share as much as I can, and yeah, a lot of it does come back to being a good dad, but I think it's just also about having this story of, I also don't want to get too obsessed with changing my behavior solely to influence his growth, because then I'm not being me. I took him, so when I left Daily Show, I took him with me to clean out my office.
Yeah, you wrote about that.
Because he needs to understand that none of these jobs are forever. None of this stuff is forever. So,
do you think he understood that?
Not yet.
Yeah.
But I've taken him by CNN, and he's come there and understood that.
Yeah.
He's old enough now to understand the idea of this show and this show connects. He's Googled me once. So he's aware of what I do, but trying to take that veneer off of what fame and stardom and all of that, because he has no perspective on that. And of course,
kids don't care.
Yeah, they really don't.
So one day he'll figure out who Casanat is. He'll be like, "Daddy, you ain't famous for shit." KSI or somebody. Like he'll see real fame, and it'll give him perspective. But yeah, you need to know who I am, and I'm thankful that my pops used to take me to the barbershop and these boring-ass speaking engagements, and I would sit on the floor with him in a radio station while he did call-in shows. I would just sit at his feet, and he would just take 2 hours of calls from the community. No music, just talking to people.
Yeah.
Brother Wood, this would need to happen with the referendum, and you need a new city tax, and that'll pay for the education. And my dad, whether he was right or wrong, whether they were right or wrong, my pops would just be patient with people and hear them out and have conversations with them. And so you learn pieces of who your parents are when you see them doing the thing they love to do. And so that's important that my son at least sees and sentient about it.
Don't go anywhere, because we got more. What now? Breaking the curses. I often think about how impossible that can be sometimes. And what I mean by this is, like, we'll all talk about, especially in the age that we're in now, everyone will go, my family did this, and I'm going to be the one who doesn't do it, and my dad was like this, and I'm not going to be that, and my mom was like this, and I'm not going to be that, and I will be the one, and I will be the one. And the great irony of it is you'll end up being the one, just from a different place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And reading through your book, I kept finding myself thinking, maybe the great relief and release in life is not only thinking we're successful when we break the curse, but it's realizing that there's a whole lot of power in just naming the cage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
This is what it is.
Like I feel like you may get, because there's no real scale that'll tell us how far or how close you get to being the perfect dad. But just knowing what the cage is that you're in because of your dad, and being able to name it, change it. Like, it's not the exact same thing, but I mean, like, for me, like ADHD, knowing that I had ADHD changed my life, genuinely. I didn't have to change everything about my life, but now I could tell you, I'd be like, oh, that's the ADHD. Like, I know how my brain works. I know at 1 a.m. when I'm craving a chocolate, I know what's happening. Before I would just go, I'm craving a chocolate. Now at 1 a.m. I'm like, oh, hello, old friend. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's what I mean is, like, I feel like that's where you're doing the work, and that's where you and your son will benefit, because you're naming the cage.
Yeah, I think it all helps. I don't think it's a book he'll read or appreciate for another 15 years. I think he's gonna be 20, somewhere in there.
But I think he'll appreciate the results of the book, because you might think the book is for him, but you might find you writing the book is what's been for him.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who
I
can
get what
write.
you're saying.
I don't know anybody who can write their story honestly, and not be forced to reckon with things that have happened in their life.
Correct.
Like I tell everyone all the time, I go, write a book about your life, and they're like, who's going to read it? I go, that's not. You shouldn't actually think about that. Go and write a book about your life, and when you're writing it, you start to realize how much you don't even know about your own life. You realize you don't even know your parents
At all.
at all.
At all.
We know what our
You
parents
only know
did.
Yeah, you only know them through them being in service to you.
Yeah, but you don't like know, like, and I mean like know your parents. Ask them like a real deep question that isn't. And what I mean about a real deep one is they're actually the ones that seem like they're on the surface.
My mama told me a story one time about in college how she faked being pregnant on a dude, and we laughed for a fucking hour because this is a esteemed black college educator, 3 degrees, and I work in administration and I make sure these kids get their degrees. I was the first 9 black people at Delta State. We protested at the president's office and we fought, and I'm the child of a sharecropper, and also I'm pregnant. It was the 70s. You could really scare a dude back then. Like, the technology wasn't what it was now to prove you're a liar. And I'm like, Mama, why you did that? It pissed me off. Just left it at that. So you forget that your parents are just humans.
Exactly.
So yeah, put that in the book. Yes, son. Yes, I stole a credit card trying to buy some shit. Got caught. Let me tell you about that world. Let me tell you about like all of these weird times. And so that, I don't know, man. I just don't know if I would ever talk about any of this on stage. So I don't know what else I would ever have had a platform for it.
But I think that's the beauty of different art forms, right? I never used to understand why musicians would paint sometimes. You know, you'd read these random stories. They go like, da-da-da has a painting, they paint. I'm like, why? What are you doing? Just, you make music already. And then over time you start realizing, and I think this applies to everybody, whether you're an artist or not, because I think everyone is an artist genuinely, not like oh, everyone's an artist. I mean it. Everyone has something creative in them that they'll benefit from getting out. And I think we take for granted that sometimes we think all of our stories will be told in the places that we think they can be told, but they won't be. Some of your stories will only come out because of your friends. Some of your stories will only come out because you go to church. Some of your stories will only come out because of therapy. Some of your stories will only come out because you're in a relationship. Some of your stories will only come out if they are given the right avenue and stage to come out in. And so in a way I go like, because of the book is a different stage.
Yeah.
I was laughing about you working at Quickcrete with the concrete in your hair. I was laughing at you with the credit, like Roy's credit card fraud. Man, let me tell you something.
It was a good time. We ate good for 2 years.
Do you know what I mean?
It was just to get food. Like that's how it started.
Yeah, the relationship. No, that's true. That's true. With food. Yeah.
You know what it was? We just wanted Pizza Hut, bro.
That's all.
We wanted Pizza Hut. It was 96, and it was the beginning of pay at the pump. And in those days in the States, your gas station receipt had your full name, full credit card number, and expiration date.
What a wonderful time.
Insane. Insane.
What a dream.
And I go to a gas station, and I get paid at the pump, and whoever was there before me hadn't pulled their receipt, so my receipt was attached to theirs. And I saw that full credit card number, and I was like, we having Pizza Hut tonight. And I went back to the dorm. I told my boys, I said, boys, whatever you want. Meat lovers, we getting breadsticks, all that. And we ordered like $40 worth of pizza on somebody else's credit card. And in those days, when they would deliver the pizzas, right? This is where racism can help you. In those days, when they delivered pizzas to black colleges, most black colleges are on or adjacent to a bad side of town in a lot of instances. So sometimes the pizza man get robbed. So the pizza man's already paranoid because he's already on 10 about being robbed. But we would walk up to pick up $50, $60 in pizzas with a $10 cash tip in hand. White driver, literally trembling as we're walking up. And we're dressed as hood as we can, like in black hoodie, black Nike. Like we want psychologically, we're trying to psych you out.
You're trying to invoke racism.
Yes. Yes, because I need you to not ask me for this card because you think they're going to stomp you out. Oh, what you think I ain't got the card? Oh, I didn't have the card. All I had was the receipt.
Yeah, but I like the $10 tip though. That's psychological. That's
because no one's tipping. And so we would walk up and we would go, hey man, can I write the tip in? Do y'all take cash? Mm-hmm. Me? Yeah, you man. There you go. Oh, here you go. And there's Parmesan and there's some red flakes for you. And we'd walk off and he'd never ask for the card. So you come back to the dorm, celebrating, and you're eating like, we've ordered $80 worth of pizza. We can't eat all this pizza. Oh, the dorm is just, them motherfuckers is floating. Like,
Ninja Turtles.
You know how they smell them pies in the cartoon? And the get the float. So we're in the dorm during Monday Night Football, which is like premier packed TV room, and we in the back like some fucking bosses, and motherfuckers will come up and
pay their respect.
And they come up, and one dude from the football team, he come up and go, hey, I give you $10 for that pizza right now, fathead ass nigga. And it's like a $15 meat lover. He's offering me 10
that you haven't paid for.
Yeah. Nice doing business with you. That's how I started. We just wanted to eat pizza one night. Somebody bought one of the pizzas wholesale, and then a flashlight went off in my head. And so I just started selling food. I was the food dude. And then about a year or two later, I got a work study at the post office on campus. And mind you, the only reason I got the work study at the post office was because I was late signing up to be an RA in the dorm. I just forgot to sign up. I've been an RA for 2 years. Just forgot. And they were like, well, you can go work in the post office. Cool. Mail sorter. Now you have access to the actual tangible cards. At a college campus where everybody is applying for credit cards.
Oh, my goodness.
And in those days, credit cards came already activated in the envelope. There was no sticker. There was no call this number and put in your PIN and your matching zip code.
We could argue that they basically made you a fraudster, if we're honest. I mean, let's be honest, Roy.
You had no other choice.
I mean, really. This seems logical at this point.
I'm like, this is God. God wants me. So now when we order the pizza, I can show the card. Hey, here's the tip.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'll write it. You still don't get tip. So
the confidence is going up.
And that's where you get sloppy. Because you get too arrogant. And so now with these tangible cards, you can sell clothing. Because you can just go buy clothes.
Oof. Tell me
what you need, get half price.
It goes deeper, man.
So you become the dude. Like, pizza's one thing, but now PlayStation, whatever you need, just half price. Just come tell me what you need. I'm Amazon for that part of the campus.
Look at me. I am Jeff Bezos.
And so we take a card in the Dillard's, and we knew one of the girls that worked the cash register, and she was doing us a favor. And this is where, so to do us a favor, to leave more credit space on the card, she undercharged us for the merch so that the card would have more space, which I didn't need you to do, because I'll just go steal another card when it's time to do this again. And she undercharges us for everything. And she's working in, like, I don't know, Polo or Tommy, whatever.
Yeah, one of those warm stores.
Correct, one of the designer departments where there are no $7 sweaters.
Yep.
She's ringing up shit for like $6, bro.
Whoa.
Like, this is too low. And so she got caught, and then the dominoes fell, and we're at the house waiting on a pizza. And the Tallahassee police came in. They kicked that door. And this is at a time when Tallahassee only had like 4 or 5 murders a year. So this was some good action. The whole task force come in the house and take us down. Yeah, it was like, I don't know, 7, 8 cops. And then, we got him. And then,
you blew the whistle on you.
here's the fucked up part though. We got arrested. They started searching the house. And the fucking Pizza Hut showed up with that goddamn pizza. And couldn't eat it. And the cop ain't have enough sense to ask the pizza man if that was like stolen. And that's all I remember about the night I got arrested was that fucking Pizza Hut smelled so good, and I couldn't fucking touch it. It was sitting right there in the living room, bro. Couldn't fucking touch it. And so got suspended from school. And then during the suspensions when I started doing stand-up. Because I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna go to prison. Well, that makes me sad. Well, let me just try stand-up. Because now you realize the common bond you share with people is your ability to give them things. And the moment I lost that superpower, nobody wanted to talk to me. I had like 1 or 2 friends. And around the same time, I started working at Golden Corral. And Golden Corral was like the first place I ever worked. The first place I ever experienced true forgiveness and benevolence from strangers, coworkers who don't know me. And then you find out, after a month or two, you find out I get probation.
Yeah.
Don't know how. I get probation. I don't go to jail. And I'm doing stand-up. I'm working at Golden Corral. I'm riding out my suspension from school. And then my coworkers at Golden Corral found out that I was on probation. And I just remember just expecting to be fired. Like, oh, okay. And then you discover that half the store is on probation. Because we had an owner who hired convicted felons and returning citizens, the tax breaks, but also he legitimately believed in second chances. And so that place at that time in my life was exactly where I needed to be, because the legal system is set up to make you feel like you're gonna fuck up again. And they psychologically tell you, like,
you're coming back.
It's only a matter of time.
I'll see you soon, sir. And so, yeah, like that's the type of stuff where I feel like my son should know that. And then it's also interesting in how that helped shape why I try to be as kind as I can to people and try to give chances to people.
Yeah.
Because there was like an 18-month stretch in my life where I could have been discarded. Florida A&M could have thrown me out. Golden Corral could have thrown me out. The school let me back in so I could graduate. Then I go get a job in Birmingham, working at the radio station after I graduate. I was still on probation when I started 95.7. So that only happens because there were so many people that saw me for what I could become. So it changed how I saw myself. So I didn't feel like who I was. I could only see what I was destined to be. And like, that's all I still, to this day, that's still how I carry myself.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't done this now, but I know what's gonna happen over there. Are you scared? Did you? No, let's leave Daily Show, because I know over here,
There must be something.
I know how to get there, because I've been at rock bottom before. So this is easy. I can get from here. All right, career's still going. Like, that's how all of that thought process started, was during that first year of probation, just in terms of like figuring out the self-reliance. And that's where everything from my pops and my moms and being a latchkey kid and then selling my own stuff and hustling and not asking my mama for no help. I needed that shit when I was on probation because I didn't have nobody. Ain't nobody trying to help you make the dream happen. And you in school, you back in college talking about you gonna be a comedian. Nobody buying that. Not in a building full of scholars and not FAMU journalism. I mean, I had a classmate, man. I ain't never felt more nothing in my life. And I'm still enrolled and I'm back in college.
Yeah.
I'm in Jacksonville doing an open mic or some shit and we backstage, they got the TV on. And I see one of my classmates anchoring the weekend news. We're the same age. And he's the weekend anchor. And I'm
On TV.
On TV. Like, he's on his way. And I'm like, in that moment I saw him, I was like, fuck, this gotta work. This has gotta work, because I'm never about that. I'm not doing journalism properly. You know, and I ended up doing my own version of it. And, you know, I got lucky as well because I worked in morning radio at a time where black radio, morning terrestrial radio, was disgustingly competitive in certain markets. And we were one of the few markets, I think it was about 10 cities at the time, that had 4 different black morning shows. So we were the local show, but then you would have Tom Joyner syndicated in. I think Steve Harvey was just starting. But there was also Doug Banks. There was also Tony Scott. There was also Russ Parr. So any of those 5 or 6 entities, 4 could be in any market. So when you're the local black show, you have to creatively be way out in left field creatively to compete. So yeah, I can do a lot of crazy, weird ideas. I don't have to just do prank phone calls. I can come up with weird call-in characters. I can come up with parody songs. The Leo Devlin character that we did on Daily Show, that was an old radio character. I wouldn't even have the gumption to pitch it at Daily Show had I not been given that creative freedom to just play in the sandbox and figure it out. And if it sucks, who cares? Nobody's gonna remember because tomorrow's a new day on radio. If they don't like it, it's Birmingham. They're gonna call and tell you trash, but they're gonna give you another chance. Like, that's the one thing about black audiences is that you can get booed, but you can always come again. You can always come back again. Try again. If it's good this time, we'll cheer. If it's bad again, we'll boo. And each boo is its own individual.
It doesn't count towards the next thing.
No,
it's not a cumulative thing.
Individual correction.
You don't take it personally.
Yeah.
You suck. Keep moving.
He's still mad.
Come on, man. Come on.
I ain't tripping.
They can act like you didn't suck. They didn't know you suck.
Yeah.
You know what?
It was a different time though, man. I'm very grateful for that time because I needed forgiveness at a time where I did not deserve it. And I got an abundance of it. And so that's part of what keeps me gracious and trying to give, you know, chances to people. I haven't been able to get anything greenlit in a place where I can do effectively for other people what was done for me, especially, you know, people coming off probation, coming out of prison, stuff like that, doing some staff and shit with that. Like, that's the Birmingham plan, you know?
You say that, but I feel like in the same way you sometimes put an outsized amount of pressure on yourself to be the perfect father that you never had. If there's one thing everyone in this industry, and I mean everyone, will agree on, and people don't agree on anything in life, is Roy Wood Jr. has helped them in some way, shape, or form. I'll tell you now, you will be hard-pressed to find a comedian or anyone who's like tangentially related to comedy who doesn't have a story about how you've helped them in some way, shape, and I mean everyone. Here's Eugene, who's a random African. Think about it.
In the thick of COVID.
Think about it, though.
When you didn't have to.
Yeah, like me, you name it, the Neil Brennans of the world, every random comedians nobody knows, comedians everybody does know, big comedians, small comedians, like you name it.
Because people were kind to me, bro.
No, you say that, but like, I think, you see, you saying like, I've never had the chance, I go, man, you take for granted how, and this is something that I've always loved about you as a friend, but I've always like wanted to strangle you on, is I go, you'll focus on the mountains, but you'll take for granted how many pebbles you've piled up. You know what I'm saying? You'll always be like, man, when I get that mountain going, and I'm like, Roy, look how many pebbles you put here, man. That's literally a mountain that you've built.
There's more.
Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, there's more, but I'm saying that's like my wish for you as a friend and as a person. I always go like, oh man, just look back at some of those.
Yeah, you've always wanted me to stop and just like,
always,
you did
pause,
it right.
not even stop, pause.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard
Pause.
because I always feel like that light in the tunnel. It's not the end of the journey, it's the train trying to run me over.
Damn.
So I just have to keep moving.
Imagine playing with trains as his kid. What a crazy journey that must be. Okay, trains, like choo choo. And that's the end of my line.
Oh, kids used to die in Birmingham back in the 80s. They used to try and hot freight trains to class.
Oh yeah, that's like us when we moved. Yeah, that's same thing as South Africa. That's what I say. It's
Fall under the train.
We lived a parallel life.
Yeah.
You know, can I tell you one of the biggest things your book did for me that I appreciate is it brought something top of mind that I think is really important to think about now. And it's, you talk about your journey with your father, partially knowing a man, and I argue we only partially know everyone in our lives, you know, but partially knowing this man for 16 years of your life, him dying, and then you talking about the many fathers and the men in your life that raised you in some way, shape, or form, even in the smallest conversation, even in the smallest instruction, the smallest act of kindness. But what I found myself thinking of when I closed the last page of the book is I went, damn, that's probably the biggest blow that masculinity has taken in society today, is that we have fewer and fewer fathers because we have a smaller and smaller village. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the way we used to
Everybody
live.
keeps to themselves.
Yeah, the way we used to live. Like even
proximity.
having a father was like it's like they were all fathers. I mean,
Yeah.
like this is where the language of African languages, especially South African languages, tie you to that concept. Everyone was Bab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I was talking to Eugene's dad, I'd say Bab Khoza. Father Khoza, but it's like father, and you know what I mean? Mom Khoza, like you know what I mean? Mama ga Eugene, Mama ga, like it's like mom. So there's all the moms and there's all the dads. So
all the brothers
and all the brothers and all the sisters. So yours directly might not be there, but we always grew up being like, man, there's fathers everywhere, and there's moms everywhere, and yours might not be there, but there are many of them around to give instruction, to give a beating, to give correction, to give guidance, to give whatever it might be. And all I thought to myself was like, imagine growing up now as a young man whose father isn't present, physically or emotionally, and then like where are your fathers?
Isolated.
Yeah, where are your fathers? It's like just what, the internet? Do you know what I mean?
In a lot of cases,
Yeah. But the problem with the internet that I have is it's a bunch of men